Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. You know, we talk about the economy and inflation and all that stuff that's going on, but you know what the reality is man, things are just great with the economy. I mean, there's all kinds of people over the past 12, 18 months that's just making hand over fist. I mean, did you know that there are people that are sitting at home still doing nothing? And they're making more money than what they did when they had a job. I mean, there's people that still haven't paid their house payment or their rent payment for over a year now. I mean, they're getting free stuff, more food stamps. It's going really good. They're not having to pay all kinds of their bills. So I don't really know why we complain about inflation, why we complain about all the bad things with the economy when I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that's making a lot of money. I mean, look at the stock market, look at the cryptocurrencies. There's been millionaires made over the past year. So it's really not that bad, right? We'll talk about that here in just a moment. Before I get started, I just wanted to thank you all for watching. Thank you for many of you, many of you are faithful viewers of this channel. And I wanted to thank you for that. Also wanted to mention for those of you in the market for emergency foods, because, well, inflation and all the other stuff that's going on, you might want to be aware of some of them. The good products out there that this company that I've worked with is, and that is My Patriot Supply. And you can find a link down in the description below. They offer some really good products at a really affordable price in food buckets and tin cans and stuff like that. If you click on that link, it'll take you to their site and you can see what they have out there, and if there's anything that might spark your interest. There are several people that view this channel that buy from them, and they comment from time to time of the great experience they've had of purchasing from this company. So are we really concerned? Should we be really concerned with what's going on with the economy? Because, I mean, I get these people all the time commenting here on the channel like, oh, you crazy people. Why, I've made lots of money this year. I don't know what you're talking about. Why, I bought and sold a bunch of stocks and cryptocurrencies, and I'm still getting, a big old fat unemployment checks, and I don't know what you're talking about. I've been doing good. It must be that the economy's great and you guys are all crazy. Yeah, we hear that, don't we? I mean, even here, and this is something that we should all be concerned with. Janet Yellen, maybe some of you don't even know who she is. But you should know, because I think she's going to become a very well-known household name eventually. She said just a day or so ago that, well, increased interest rates are a good thing, and, well, inflation is a good thing. She supports the drastic increase in Joe Biden's spending bill and in his proposed budget. In fact, his proposed budget, we're talking in the neighborhood of $10 trillion. Just to put that into perspective, last year, our government spent more in 1 year than it's ever spent before, almost double of what it's ever spent. At least about a 60% increase in what it's, 50 to 60% increase in what it had ever spent before, due to the, health crisis and the stimulus packages. And last year we spent $6 trillion. Biden is proposing $10 trillion. That's right. About 2.5 times the amount of annual spending that we would spend on any normal year. And of course, it's just started. I mean, that's just kind of scratching the surface of what he's wanting to do. And Janet Yellen, she's supporting that. And she says that, Biden needs to push it through and go for it right now. She said that, even if it causes inflation, why, we've had low inflation for a long time. In fact, she says we've had too low of inflation, that our inflation should be much higher than what it is, because that's healthy. That's a good thing, right? Well, You know why they say it's a good thing? Because inflation is a good thing for those that are wealthy. That's right. Inflation is just simply another type of tax. A little sweat bee is really liking me in the camera today. Um, Inflation is great for those that have money. I mean, it doesn't benefit you and I at all, because all it does is it takes more of our money to purchase something. It lowers our purchasing power. And so we're giving more money to something that has not increased in value at all. But the people that are making that, or the people that are loaning that money, the people that have the wealth that are receiving that extra money, they're making money. So yeah, inflation is a good thing if you got a lot of wealth. It creates bigger wealth gaps. Always does. Inflation always creates bigger wealth gaps. If you look out back through inflationary periods in our country, not everyone is hurt by them. Yeah, just you and I, people like us, we're the ones that hurt from inflation. The wealthy, they make lots of more money. In fact, inflation is one of the best ways to redistribute and transfer wealth from the middle and lower classes to the high and upper classes. So of course, they're saying that inflation is a good thing. And that's what she says. She says we should welcome it. And she also warns that we should prepare to see a surge of inflation in the coming next weeks and months. That it is happening, and it's a good thing, okay? This is all, I'm getting to somewhere here. As much as what she's saying is bad, just bear with me and we'll connect some dots. Again, inflation is only good for the wealthy. It's nothing more than another type of tax. It is a way to, transfer wealth. And we have seen a transfer of wealth greatly over the past year. Look at the amount of money of people like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. Look how much their wealth has increased over the past year. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that just Elon Musk alone, his wealth more than doubled, or roughly doubled over the past year, maybe even more. So these guys are definitely raking it in. I don't think my wealth doubled over the past year, and I would be surprised if any of you had wealth that doubled over the past year. And we're just paying more and more. Everything's going up. My mother texted me this morning, and she's like, "You need to be stocking up on vanilla extract." I said, "Why?" She said, "I just went to the store because I needed some, and man, that stuff is extremely high. It has gone way up in price." She said, "You should be stocking up on it." And I said, "Well, I'll just make some more. I probably should do that because we make our own." And she's, "Oh, I forgot about that." That's what's happening everywhere. I mean, try to build a house now. They're saying that the average middle-class home build cost, has gone up about $40,000 just because of the increase in materials the price increase in the materials that it takes to build a home. You're going to start seeing home insurances go up, even if your home is older. They're saying that there probably will be increasing the insurance on homes because the home values are worth more, because that lumber in there is worth more. Even though the lumber that was used to build your house was years ago and wasn't very expensive. Just because of the lumber going up, it's increasing the values of homes, and you're going to start seeing your insurance go up if you haven't already. This is just on and on and on, folks. And so many people are still blind to this. So many people don't get it. So many people are still, things are still good. Stock market's still up. I'm still making money, I'm buying on the shorts. I'm doing good. Cryptocurrency's still okay. I'm making money there. I'm still getting my check in. It's all going good. I haven't had to pay my rent. Well, guess what? This is going to start catching up with people. Did you know that if they increase the interest rates, not only will our national debt, the payments that we have to pay on the national debt, greatly increase. They estimate that just 0.5% of increase in interest rates will cause the U.S. government's burden to pay on that debt increase by almost $500 billion a year. There are some people in America that still have not paid for almost a year or more on their mortgages. And so that's just backed up. You know, that's not going to go away. Just because there's a moratorium on having to pay it and they can't foreclose on you doesn't mean you'll never have to pay it. It's building up and it's building up, and all the fees and everything is building up. There are people right now up to their eyeballs in debt because of all this stuff that's gone on. There's people that, you know, the same way with rent and other debts. And things are going good because they're not having to pay their debts, but yet all this extra money's coming in. So it's looking good. A lot of new TVs were bought this year. You know, all kinds of new stuff has been bought. New phones have been bought. You know, new computers, new all kinds of stuff. People have been spending all this extra money on the stock market. You know, getting on their little apps where it's easy. It's just like playing a game on their phone. And I think that's what a lot of people think of it. They think of it just like playing these games, but it's real money. And I don't think they realize, and they're like, it was just extra money I got from Uncle Sam, so what? Well, that's all gonna come crashing down. It's all gonna come to an end eventually. Let me tell you a little bit of a story. And I just want you to think as I'm speaking and try to figure out what else sounds like this. I don't want to take all the credit for what I'm going to say because it's also something very similar to what Glenn Beck said in the last couple of days on one of his shows. So I do want to definitely give him credit for a lot of the inspiration for this. 1920 in Germany. At that time, the German mark was one of the strongest, if not the strongest, currencies on this planet. It was every bit is equal to the US dollar, if not even better. Germany had gone through World War I and a defeat, and their economy wasn't necessarily that bad. What was really bad was the people were demoralized. The people were tired. The people were just didn't know where to go in life. They didn't know what to do after this big defeat. You know, Germany at one time before the war, the Great War, was considered maybe one of the most powerful nations on the planet. They were definitely one of those. And they were a very proud people. And then they suffer a defeat during World War I. And so the people were they didn't know what to do with themselves. Okay, kind of like being locked up for a year. They just didn't know what to do, and there was no real direction with the population. There was all these different ideas and different groups and different things, but there was never any, connectiveness, and there was never any unity going into the 1920s. And they started seeing that because of all the stuff coming in from the previous war, is that there started to be a growing wealth gap in Germany. The wealthy were getting wealthier, and if you had connections, you were doing good. And the people that didn't on the lower end, they weren't doing quite so well. So the German government decided, we're going to start spending money. We're going to start doing these programs to help people out. We're going to start giving things away and doing incentive programs to help all these people out on the lower end. And because of that, it did spur the economy. In fact, it also jump-started their stock market. And during the 1921, 1922, especially the early part of 1922, their stock market soared. In fact, they were selling so much on their stock market that every few days they would have to shut down the stock market just so that they could catch up with the paperwork, because of course everything was done on paper then. Kind of reminds me of how a lot of these stock trading apps are shutting people down and stopping them from buying their trading because a particular stock may just skyrocket and it's just too much. And so the app, like these Robinhood apps, they'll lock people out for a 24-hour period to keep them from overbuying a stock. This was going on. They were printing a lot of money. The problem is that Germany was incurring a lot of debt. And so they had this great idea of, well, why don't the central bank just buy all that debt? Just buy it all. Kind of like how the Federal Reserve has been buying billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of U.S. debt every month for at least the last year and a half. And so they were buying all this debt. And they just kept printing money and printing money and printing money. And things were going really good for a while. And like I said, from 1921 to the early part of 1922, things looked really good, okay? Stock market soared. Money was just being everywhere. Everyone, it was just, you could swim in money because there was so much going around. By the fall of 1923, if you had every German mark that had been printed and was in circulation, if you owned every one of them, it would not have been enough money to purchase one newspaper, one morning paper, if you had had all the German marks combined. Because, well, the bottom crashed. And they just kept having inflation, 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 and interest rates kept going up. And they kept saying that's a good thing. It's helping spur the economy. It's helping people are getting out and buying more. Yes, the cost of things are more, and you know what? To counteract that inflation, we'll just print some more money. We'll give some more stuff away. We'll start new programs to create new jobs. The government just will keep printing more money, and we understand interest rates are going up, inflation is going up, but that's a good thing because that gets the economy moving. It gets the economy trucking until it all crashes. And that's when Germany went through their hyperinflation period. And when that happened, it wasn't just that their money lost all of its value. Their government almost completely collapsed. Institutions collapsed. People lost faith in them. The nation as a whole was completely falling apart and in disarray, which in fact was one of the main reasons that paved the way for Adolf Hitler and his regime to eventually take power, because he promised so much to bring Germany up out of what they were going through because of the hyperinflation and all the disruption that it caused in their nation. Right now, inflation doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's gone up every month over the past 3 months. But if most people look at it, they say, wow, it's still in the single digits. It's not too bad. What they don't tell you is that they figure inflation differently than they used to. Because a lot of people, especially that are older, they're like, man, I remember back in the 70s and 80s, you know, we had inflation at 6%, 9%, 11%, 13%, almost 15% by 80, 81. If you figured inflation today based on the mathematical equation that they used back in the 1980s, the inflation rate right now would be hovering right at around 15%. But they don't want you to know that. They have to change things up because they don't want you to know it. It's kind of like, it was funny, a town I used to live in, there was a business that kept getting busted for they were selling drugs out the back of the business, and they'd come in and they'd shut the business down, and a couple of months later a new store would open up there under a different name, and then that would get shut down for selling drugs, and a few months later another store would open up under a different name, and that went on for a while. They just rebranded it, and that's what they've basically done. If we continue down this path, I don't know how there's any other way to get off of it. I understand the wild card is the digital dollar that would completely just wipe out the US dollar that we have today and a new digital dollar. And there are some that theorize that would prevent us from crashing into this abysmal hyperinflation swamp. But we don't really know, because no one's ever really done that before under these circumstances. We do know, though, that the path that the United States is on right now is virtually identical to the one that Germany went down, and the one that Venezuela went down, and the one that virtually every other nation went down, that ended up in a hyperinflated dollar and nearly a complete collapse of their government because of it. And we're just doing it the same way everyone else did. And we keep saying the same thing. Inflation's great. It's going to be good. It'd be good for the economy. It'd be better to have even higher inflation. We've just had inflation's been too low. We just need a little bit more of it. And that'll get the economy going. We need more money, spend more money. It's good. Spend trillions of dollars more. That'll help the economy. Folks, you better be prepared for this. If you don't know how to be prepared for this, do a little research in history and see what the Germans went through, see what the Venezuelans went through, and every other nation that's gone through this. Look up on your phone. Just look it up. Look up online, get a history book, and read what these nations went through and what it was like for them and what it's like for them today with some of these nations. Still, it's not going to be a good thing, folks. You better be prepared. Get your house in order, prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually, because we're not headed down a very good path right now, especially when it comes to our economy. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.